Влегува досега најголемата инвестиција во зоните. Гересхајмер најавува вложувања од над 126 милиони евра. Потпретседателот на германскиот фармацевски гигант во интервју за Сител говори за инвестицијскиот план и за климата за инвеститорите во земјава. Интервју на Даниел Василев.
Гересхајмер е германска фармацевска компанија која за прв пат во Македонија инвестираше за време на пандемијата. Сега, компанијата отвора и втор погон во технолошко-индустријската зона тука во Скопје. Потпретседателот на Гересхајмер, Оливер Бругел, ќе ни објасни во тема на денот што точно произведуваат и какви се плановите на компанијата за во иднина. Hello, Mr. Бругел. Welcome in Тема на денот. First things first, what exactly do you produce and where do you export your products?
Okay, so let me give you a little bit of an insight there. So Geresхајмер is an MDAX listed company and we have a top line like 1.5 billion roughly. Strongly inclining because we have a strategical project ongoing, which is Formula G, which leads us to believe that we're going to double or triple our sales within the next coming years. And we're producing medical devices. We're also producing patch pumps. We're producing insulin pens. We're producing respiratory devices. We're producing glass bottles, pre-filled syringes, ampules. So in light of COVID, we already did a lot for, let me say, the global population to ensure that they're all getting vaccinated, at least the ones that wanted to.
What is the size of the investment for the both of the plants here in Macedonia?
Well, okay, the first one was roughly in the lower to mid double-digit million part. And the ones that we're now referring to is in the ballpark of 100 million euros. And it plays really a pivotal role within our strategy within the Gerasimha corporation, as this is going to really make sure that in Europe we're very well placed. So we have the hub here in Northern Macedonia and we have the hub in Germany, and that conjunction, that two satellites very well cover the whole European market, and therefore we're now in a perfect shape. So looking very much forward to getting it up and running, and it has to be up and running at the, let me say, shortest possible timing, because our customers are really very much looking forward to getting those supplies.
Yes. This is your second fabric here in Macedonia. How many employees do you have at the moment, and how much do you expect to have after you finish the construction of the second building?
Okay, as you know, the first one was construction start in early 2019, and obviously COVID slowed it down to a certain degree while we started production fourth quarter of 2020. Currently we're employing like 100 associates at the existing premise, which is doing the plastic devices like I already outlined. And now we're looking for pre-filled syringes, and that's going to be another plant very close to the existing one. We have a big plot, so we can expand both plants furthermore. And we're going to produce those pre-filled syringes for heparin and vaccine market. And at the end, at least regarding both projects, we expect to employ around 600 employees. So the old, already existing one will grow from 100 almost to 350, with the ongoing projects. And the other one is going to start and then end up with 180 with extremely highly sophisticated equipment.
What kind of technology do you use? Do we have the qualified workers here in Macedonia to work with this kind of technology?
Well, what we found out here is that, I mean, the work ethics are great. And obviously with our particular business in the plastic area, we need to do some training ourselves. So we collaborated here with the AHK, and they supported us, so we built our own program together with them, and we're now starting to have our own apprentices. We're having at present, let me think, roughly 8 at the existing premise. And obviously in light of the glass business, we would also start something comparable. Well, again, if the work ethic is great, you can basically accomplish everything. And that is what we found here. We found people with great work ethic.
So the foreign investors here in Macedonia are pretty satisfied with the productivity of the workers, something that you mentioned in the previous question, but they have difficulties to find qualified employees, so they invest in themselves to produce qualified workers by their own needs. According to them, the problem here is with the law. Companies are not protected by the law in a way that the employees in which they invest are not obligated to stay in the company for a certain time. What's your experience? Do you have employees that are going to other firms after they gain experience in your firm?
Well, again, I would say, I would not say it's about the law, because if I think about it, we do not have a law in Germany that protects an employee to leave if he wants to go for another employer. So I would call that comparable. What I see is, how do you make sure that the employees are somehow, let me say, satisfied with the employer, and then there is a bondage between the employer and the employee. And that is something which is not only particular to North Macedonia. We see that wherever we are as Gerasamah. You have to make sure that there is a connection between the employee and the employer. What makes you believe that you are with the right company? And I give you some ideas why we, Gerasamah, believe we're a good company. We're working in the medical pharmaceutical issue. We take care about people. We make sure that people have a better life. And that's a mission. So we give a mission to the people, and we believe strongly if people have a mission, if people are treating respectfully, if there is a really good connection between the corporation and the people, then they will stay with you. Yes, once in a while people leave you, while we must say we have in general terms a quite good track record, while most recently also our turnover quote increased slightly.
Which are the competitive advantages in Macedonia as a country to invest? This is your second fabric, we said that already, but what do you suggest to be improved when it comes to business conditions here in Macedonia?
Well, honestly speaking, you know, always there's potential, right? It can always become better. So I would rather talk about why we've made the decision the way we did it. So one thing was obviously the great infrastructure that we found here in North Macedonia. It's perfect. We found a workforce which we deem to be very good, interested in being trained and with having a good, let me say, basic to be transformed to the next level. Then the other thing is working together with authorities like TIT and government. So, I mean, the size of the country has obviously a big pro. There are rules, while there is still a high level of flexibility. So you can speed up things quite fast if you're really certainly interested. And obviously some other things which were important for us was the general stability. So we deem that Macedonia is a country of stability, which also made our decision quite easy to start here in North Macedonia. And honestly speaking, yes, if we would already have that apprenticeship program on a border basis, if we would not have to develop it ourselves, that would be perfect. Well, it is what it is. So what we say is we developed it jointly, the fruits are coming, so it's the right thing to be done.
Do you plan to invest somewhere else in the Western Balkan area, or Macedonia is the country?
Well, not yet. You never know. While I guess what you know is the plots that we own here, or at least for the next 100 years, so to speak, allows us to almost triple to quadruple our size. So that is basically right now the area where we think we can grow, as long as that overall conditions that I already mentioned to you are staying the same.
Mr. Bruгел, thank you for the investment in Macedonia and thank you for being part of this interview.
Thank you very much.